Hi beautiful, welcome back to my channel. I hope you're doing well. For today's video, I just wanted to play with makeup. Also, I purchased a new eyeshadow palette, a blush palette, and also a highlighter cream palette. So without further ado, let's hop right into the video. I think I am going to start with my eyes today since the eyeshadow palette that I have here is so beautiful. So this eyeshadow palette is called Yemoja. This is what it looks like, and this is from the brand OPV Beauty London. This is a makeup brand that is based in London, UK, and it was founded by two black sisters named Opiyemi and Bukola, which I thought their names are pretty unique and very beautiful. Also, I looked at their photos as well, and they're two amazing, gorgeous individuals. So here is the eyeshadow palette. I was surprised with the size because I was expecting it to be just a little bit bigger than the ColourPop eyeshadow palettes, but this one you could fit your whole face brush in one pan. Mine unfortunately came broken in the mail. Well, not the whole thing, it's just one shade that came broken, which is this one right here. That's why you could see like a rim of wet patch around the area because I tried to press it back in, but so far it's looking pretty nice. I'm going to try and swatch all the shimmers and foiled metallics. There's two interesting shades in here, which is Oyo and Ogun, which is this one. Both of them are pressed foiled shadows. When I tell you it's pigmented, it's very pigmented, like legit one swatch. So these are the two shades. As you can see, they're very opaque, very impactful. And I'm going to swatch the green and the blue. So both of these are more metallic kind of shade. The blue one is a little bit sheer but still very pigmented, and these are just one swatch. And then you have the bronzy shades, the two ones right here. That bronze copper shade, oh, that is so beautiful. Holy moly, they are pigmented as well. And I love that the shade are kind of earthy tones because that's basically what I prefer when it comes to eyeshadow, and they're not very muddy. So here are the swatches of the mattes. Again, these are all just one swipe, and ooh, they are so pigmented. So I think what I'm going to do today is maybe use this shade right here, which is called Oyo, and maybe do like a halo kind of eye, and then I will incorporate a little bit of the green and the gold on the eye. So I'm going to zoom you guys a little bit. I am going to prime my eyes using the ABH eye primer. I hope you guys are doing okay. I know 2020 started off in a rough patch. We're already halfway through the year, but you know what? It's going to get better. The reason why I don't really watch news these days is because it's crowded by too much negativity, which creates a lot of fear and anxiety. I mean, it's good to be informed, it's good to educate yourself and learn, but then at the same time, you need to have a little bit of balance and look after your mental health as well. I think I am going to start out with Mawu, which is this nice, I would say more of a orangey peachy brown as my transition. I want that straight onto the crease. And what I love about the eyeshadow palette is that it's not very powdery. I have not tried it on my eyes yet. I've only swatched this. And wow, that is pretty pigmented. And I'm going to blend that upwards to get a nice fade, but concentrating more of the pigment on the crease area. Typically, I'm not a fan of like a peachy transition shade, but this one is so pretty. Whatever excess product I have on the brush, I'm just gonna use it to blend around this area right here. I want to bring it a little bit higher up to my brows. And I've also already filled in my brows with the Fenty Beauty MVP brow pencil. So now that I have that transition, I think I'm going to try and sandwich the shade. But before that, I'm going to go on this beautiful red shade right here called, oops, it's called Echo, with the same brush. And I'm going to focus that more on the outer part of my eye, and then slowly and gradually bring it into the inner part. I love how the shadows blend so beautifully and you don't even need to do a lot of work. It just flows. And then I am going to grab a more fluffier brush and go back to Mau, which is that transition shade that we used before, and kind of buff that shade just around the perimeters of the eye. I am going to pick up a smaller blender brush which looks something like that, and I am going to grab the shade Oya, which is this one right here, mixed in with a little bit of Evo, which is this brown right here. Pop that on the outer V, and I'm going to go back to Echo, which is that red shade, and pop that on the crease just to get more red and the intensity that we wanted. Go back to Mau once again, just to blend everything, especially on this outer portion. Don't worry if it's a little bit too far, we're going to clean it up with a brush. So then I'm just gonna go back to Evo, which is that deep brown that we have, and focus that on the outer V. For the shimmer, I am going to pick up this shade called Oil with a brush. If I use a brush, that shade seems to appear as though it is more scattered glitter as opposed to it being like full-on metallic, which is that one right there. So that is the shade, but I think I might add a little bit more because I want the pop. So I'm going to pick up this shade called Ayao and pack that on top of that first shade we applied. And Ayao has got more of a peachy and gold flecks to it. So then I'm just gonna go back to that blender brush we used with the red to blend everything. Quickly apply some mascara. I'm not gonna do any false lashes, and I'll come back and we'll do the rest of it. I'm going to use the Fenty Beauty foundation, and I have the shade 310. This is a little bit too dark for me currently, but I do love wearing dark foundations. I feel like it's easier to correct a darker foundation as opposed to having a lighter foundation. So for concealer, I'm going to use the Fenty Pro Filt'r concealer, and I have the shade 290. I might pop a little bit on my jaw area as well, just to even everything out. For setting powder, I'm going to use another Fenty Beauty product. I do actually love Fenty Beauty. I love the quality of their products as well as the longevity, and it's also not too expensive. I'm just gonna quickly apply the powder. The shade that I have is Banana, and this is the Pro Filt'r powder. I don't like to apply a lot of powder because the foundation itself is quite mattifying. So for bronzer, I have Fenty Beauty Sunstalker bronzer, and this is in Beige and Gal. It may look a little bit too orange from the camera or on the camera, but in person it looks more neutral. And if you want a very sheer application, any dual fiber brush will do because it gives enough pigment as well as it lets you create that more airbrush look. I'm going to move on to a palette. This is from OPV Beauty once again, and this is their Born to Shine blush palette. For a moment I thought this could work as a bronzer, but now that I'm looking at it with the lights on, it's definitely not gonna work as a bronzer because it's very berry tone. So for blush today, I want to maybe use a little bit of this one and this one mix. I don't want it to be a little bit too pink. This one has got a little bit of shimmer, this one has got a little bit of sheen. This two right here are matte shades, so I think I might mix this one and this one. And the pan size are quite big. I may have applied a little bit too much, so I'm just gonna go over a beauty sponge. Blush palette right here is so pigmented and it has a lot of stars embedded on the pan. Being a black owned, they do understand the pigmentation because they kind of create this beauty brand to basically cater to all skin tones and skin types, but then the pigment is there. The fact that the blush is so pigmented, that's the blush that I just used. It's so pretty, and you have to be really light-handed because a little of it goes a really long way. Like, I don't have any product on the brush and it's still right there. For highlighter, I have this waterproof cream palette from Danessa Myricks. I do know that you can apply this on top of the already set skin. And I saw Alexa Blake use the Necessities version of their waterproof cream palette. Unfortunately, it was sold out. So I purchased 3. So I got the primary colors, I got this one, and I got the metallic shades. So I'm going to do a dedicated video using the Danessa Myricks waterproof cream palettes, but I thought I would chuck this in with the look that I'm wearing now. This is what the palette looks like. It's so pretty. So I'm going to mix this shade right here, which has a little bit more of a gold tone to it, and I'm going to mix that in with this shade right here, which has a little bit more of like icy pink. So I'm going to create a little concoction because I don't want my highlighter to be golden. At the same time, I don't want them to be too pink. And oh my god. If you follow Danessa Myricks on Instagram, her Instagram is inspiration central, especially if you're into more of a glowy makeup look. Oh my god, it's like a good version of glazed donut. But this waterproof cream highlighter, as you can see, it's very pigmented, and a little goes a very long way. And I love the fact that it works on top of already set base, because typically cream palettes have more of a very thick consistency that if you try to apply them on top of any powder, they can create that mud clay feeling, whereas this one right here is very thin in consistency and it blends beautifully with the skin, and it doesn't look glittery at all. If anything, it looks more of a wet highlight. We're going to finish off the eye. I'm going to use the same brush that I applied the darker shades. I'm not gonna use more product. I'm just gonna use whatever is left on the brush because we have a lot of pigment on the brush still. So I'm just gonna connect the outer V to the inner corner. I really wanted to use the green shade in this eyeshadow palette because it looked cool. So I'm going to pick up this same brush and use this green shade called Oko. The names in this palette is very unique. I am going to use a different brush, preferably a smaller brush, and I'm going to pick up this gold shade called Ogun. This is an interesting gold shade because it has a lot of green undertone. That's one of the pressed shadow or pressed glitter shadow, and I'm going to apply that on top of the green shade. I might use a different brush. For the lips, I'm going to use Fenty Beauty Gloss Balm, and this one is in the shade Fussy. Last but not the least, I'm going to apply just a teeny tiny bit of the pink shade from the Danessa Myricks just on the inner corner of the eye. Here is my final makeup look. Overall, my thoughts about the OPV Beauty eyeshadow palette, oh my goodness, it's so pigmented and a little goes a very long way, and all the shades blended out very smoothly. And also the blush palette is really nice. I mean, you could use this eyeshadow palette as your blush as well. You could use this shade for a more peachy blush, for this one right here for more glam blush, and then you could even use this if you have a darker skin tone. You could use this as your bronzer. If you have a lighter skin, you could maybe get away with using a light hand of this as your contour or eyebrow product. I mean, the opportunities are endless. The Danessa Myricks waterproof cream palette, I'm so happy that I purchased this. I love the consistency. I love how it blended into my skin, and if you're into a more glowy makeup look, this kind of product will be perfect for you. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. Please make sure to subscribe to my channel for more updates. I will catch you on the next video. Bye.